Interview one of the little sisters from New York. Hi, Christina.
Hi,
How are you doing?
I'm very great.
Okay, so let's start with some basics. Where are you from?
I'm here from New York and my parents are from Mexico.
Okay, so you like a lot of Mexican food. Are you very Mexican?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. I love the spiciness and I love the mole.
So Miss Cristiani has been a big influence on the Sisterhood, right? She started it. What's your favorite book from her?
I think The V Woman, I think it's a book that has everything inside. It has from how we have to act, to how we have to react to certain situations. It shows us that whatever we do has an effect. And it's based on, Proverbs 31, how to become a virtuous woman. And I think that's very important for us because we can use that now.
Can you tell us how you reacted the first time you heard about the Sisterhood? Like what it meant for you?
Well, I only knew the basic, you need to change the way you dress and things like that. But I didn't know in reality what it meant, what the sisterhood's purpose was for. But our big sister, Miss Andrea, introduced the sisterhood as an opportunity for a growth, a spiritual growth.
So Christina, how was your life before the Sisterhood?
I was an assistant. We always find ourselves asking God, I want to change, I want to grow, I want to be better. How can I do this? I come from a very rough past. I used to be my testimony. I used to be in a gang before, and I was very, how can I say, straight up ghetto. I didn't have any manners. I didn't know how to present myself to people. And it was something that, because of my way of acting, a lot of people misinterpreted who I was in my home, my tone, everything.
What was the hardest part about Rush Month for you?
The hardest part about Rush Month was I didn't know how to cook. I didn't know how to clean. I didn't know how to behave myself. I didn't know how to take care of family. Last thing, I didn't even know what it was to be a wife, But I was so focused in my own life, in my own me, that I never put, to try to learn new things. And it was a big challenge because I had no idea how to do these things. And it was very complicated for me. And I think learning how to dress was very difficult for me. When I saw dresses, I panicked. I didn't own a dress. I didn't own a skirt. I didn't own high heels. I didn't own makeup. So it was a big change for me. I had to literally look up things, learn from scratch. How do I go from street character to a young lady that can represent God? But because I started looking things online, okay, I have to get this task done. Okay, how do I do this? I have to Google, cooking. Okay, and I started learning a lot of things. My family saw these changes. My family saw with a superficial testimony that was, take care more of my home, take care more of myself, take care of my behavior. They saw that, and I got to a point where I saw myself sitting at a table with a family that I hardly knew.
Okay, so relationship with your family, how was it and how is it now after the Sisterhood?
I was a nurse and my family all worked. Everybody had their own lives and we never had that time to be together. So when we had the task of being with a family for a day, sitting at the table, I realized I had never done that. I had not remember. I wasn't raised with my mother, so, I was always independent. And now that the sisterhood came and asked me to be with her, it was so weird. I didn't know what to say. I didn't know what to speak at a table. I mean, it was a brief silence, and I realized that my family missed me. They didn't know anything about me either. I didn't know anything about them. And it got to a point where we started talking, and I started realizing so many things about them that I lived in the same roof, and I didn't know them. I didn't know who they were. We started bonding together. Me and my mother started speaking more. I started trusting my mother more. I learned that I had to not only be in church as an assistant. Just because you have the Holy Spirit, just because you're an assistant doesn't make you a good testimony. It doesn't mean that you're spreading God's perfume everywhere you go. In my house, I was disorganized. In my house, I was never home. First of all, I had 2 jobs. I was studying, and I was an assistant. My little bit of time left, I was in church. And when it came to have time with my family, I never had that time. I never had time to speak to them, to bond with them, to communicate with them. And I realized that when I started seeing these tasks and I started seeing how good it felt to have my family with me, to be with my family, I was like, wow, I've been missing such a big part of my life. I've been wasting my time. Not wasting my time, but I have been leaving a lot of things out in my life that, how could I show? I had so many fights with my mom, and I didn't know what I had fights with my mom. I mean, I don't do everything I used to do before. I don't use drugs anymore. I'm not out partying anymore. But why am I still fighting with her? And I realized that in part it was mostly my fault because I was never home. I was being an assistant here in church. I was here trying to help people in the youth group, but I wasn't helping my own family. So I think that was a big mistake that I was making, that the sisterhood showed me that if I have to show God, I have to show him everywhere.
What can you say about your love life?
I did take a lot of bad decisions in the past because I was very emotional. I was very insecure about myself, so I thought that because I didn't like myself, I thought if somebody, thought I was pretty, if somebody said, I would be head over heels. And that's actually what happened. The first guy I met in high school, I went out with him and realized he was not good for me, introduced me into a really bad world. And because I followed my emotions, I ended up in a really bad situation. My life was at risk in an abusive relationship, and I didn't want to suffer anymore. But when I met God, I didn't want to make the same mistake. I didn't want to keep having this insecurity inside of myself and choose wrong. And I prayed a lot for that in the sisterhood. They always had that, God's gonna show you. Be patient. God's gonna show you the right man for you. And I waited on God, and God did answer. I learned to take care of him. Well, now I'm married, and I decided to wait. I decided to choose the man that God chose for me, not what my emotions said, not what, okay, I want him. No, I decided God to choose for me, and God's choice was the best choice, and I'm happily married.
Has the sisterhood been worthwhile for you, would you say?
Oh, I think very much. It taught me how I can become a better person, a better woman. It showed me how to be a better, now that I am a wife. Anybody that's interested in becoming a better person, a better woman, has to, have this encounter with the sisterhood. The sisterhood is a way of bettering yourself. That's what I love. They didn't change my personality. They work with it to be better, and I think that if you're interested in learning more from God, and we're here to help, just like the big sisters helped me, become a better person, they can help you as well.
There's a lot of girls out there that are watching and learning from you, from your testimony. Would you recommend them to join the sisterhood as well?
Definitely. It's a life-changing experience.
Thank you, Cristina. Thank you for your time.
Hasta luego.